Hey guys, Captain Dylan Hubbard at Hubbard's Marina. I want to talk to you a little bit about our 12-hour night snapper trip. This is one of our advanced anglers specialty trips that we offer here at Hubbard's Marina, and it's a little unique from our other trips because it happens at night. We do have Captain James here today, and Captain James runs a lot of these 12-hour night snapper trips. He also runs some of our 39-hour trips, and it's that 12-hour night trip's unique. I mean, in the summertime, you get a chance to get out there and get that night snapper fishing. The 39 hours is great because you have that night fishing for those snapper, but not everybody has 39 hours to spend offshore. So that 12-hour night's kind of that answer, much like our 12-hour extreme, gets you out there to do the long-range trips and gets you back by dinner. The 12-hour night gets you the mangrove snapper fishing and you're back by breakfast.
Yeah, if you ain't got the time for going out on the all-day trips, you ain't got time in the morning, even in the afternoon, hit some of the half days or even the 39-hour. 12 hours is a great experience to be able to get you out there at night. That way you can still capitalize on working for the day and then coming out with us, enjoying the trip. And whenever you get back Saturday, go have some breakfast, take a nap, and cook up some fish for dinner.
Yeah, and it's a great way to kickstart your weekend. These Friday night snapper trips only happen on Friday nights, and we try to strategically plan them around the best moon phases and also the best time of year. We are expanding them, trying to offer them more often this year, and you guys have been doing pretty good. The last one had a lot of big mangroves.
The last one we did really well. Say we're right now at the beginning of March. These fish are really going to start heating up as the couple months go on. As it gets hotter, it honestly just gets better and better and better. It's a trip that we've really built up. We've worked really hard at. Everybody at Hubbard's Marina works really hard. And we just get out there, fish hard, have a good time, and most importantly, bring back a bunch of mangrove snapper.
And the ride out, ride back, about normally like 2.5 hours?
It's honestly more around the 2.5 hours. You know, we've been working different areas. I did a lot of experimenting last summer, and it paid off really well. The deeper was really working good. So we've just been sticking to it, running out, having some fun, soaking up the moonlight. There's no sunlight, or sun, blah, 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 blah.
So basically, 2.5 hour ride out, you got about 7-8 hours of fishing time or so, and you're hunting around, targeting those mangroves. Cooler months, we see bigger average size. Warmer months, we see more quantity of the mangroves. And you're getting a lot of other heads and tails in there too, like the lanes, the vermilions, the porgies, the almacos. And it's a nice way in the summer and spring to avoid the heat of the day. And in the cooler months, it's a nice way to be able to get out there and capitalize on that nighttime fishing.
And even though the summer, I mean, we were getting the quantities of them, but we were still getting the really just nice size. This summer, you know, honestly, the muttons are really moving in.
It's crazy.
And to get 1 or 2 muttons on a 39-hour trip is something special. But 39-hour, they've been getting, you know, 12, 15 of them on some of the trips. And then the 12-hour night snappers that I personally run, we've been getting 1 or 2, which, I mean, it was very unheard of for so many years.
Especially that close to shore.
Oh, that close to shore is crazy. We even caught an African pompano, which was pretty cool. And but the mangrove snapper, I mean, they're like, you're coming back from the 39-hour trips. We even have some guys switching from the 39-hour, not leaving the 39-hour, but just if they don't have time to get out there, coming on the 12-hour night snapper and just leaving with just giant stringers, really nice fish. It's a little bit different than like you would be fishing on the 39-hour. The mangroves, they always like that light tackle. But whenever we're still pushing the distance, but it's still a really light tackle. Like I like to use like a Daiwa BG, like 3,000 or 3,500, and 30, 40 pound max. Like that's it. I really like to use a 30-pound leader. I'd rather see you break off a fish than use too heavy and not get a bite. And,
especially if you're fishing for mangroves outside of gag season.
Oh, yeah.
It's always a good idea to go lower. Like on a 39-hour trip, 40-pound might be your lightest. You're fishing a lot of 50-pound leaders for mangroves on the 39, and even up to 60, really. During gag season, 60 is kind of your minimum size, but on this 12-hour night, you're saying more like 30-pound is your go-to.
30 is probably the lowest, and 40 is as high as I want to go.
And what's your hook size?
4-aught hooks. Honestly, the 4-aught boat hooks that we have, they work absolutely perfect.
So 4-aught with 30-pound fluoro, and then you're using chunks of threadfin, cutting the head, cutting the tail, trimming the belly.
So I used to really not be a believer of it. I always cut the head, cut the tail off, but I was just too lazy to cut that
gotta
bait right in the
trim the belly.
middle.
You gotta trim the belly.
Tell you what, a couple guys may be a believer, and I actually spend the time walking around with the crew too.
You don't watch our videos, bro? We've been talking about that for years. You gotta trim the belly. It opens that belly cavity up, lets all that scent out there.
It does. It really makes it happen.
So now you're a believer.
I am a believer now. You spend the extra couple minutes, and it's well worth it. It's well worth it.
Don't take the easy way out.
Now, don't take the easy way out.
So the double snell rig, the chunk of thread fin. What about shrimp? Shrimp works pretty well out there on the night snapper.
Shrimp works pretty good. But you know, honestly, like once you have, if you know, we're growing out with 20 to like 40 people, pretty good average. Sometimes more, you know, it's a full boat. We've been doing really well.
Full
with a lot of
moons
people.
generally.
Oh, full moons book up pretty quick. So if you want to get out, you want to book a little bit early on the full moon trips.
The 12-hour night full moons generally book out, but the other ones are like the 20s, 30s, maybe up to 40s.
Which is still a perfect number because, you know, you don't want to go out there with 15 people, which, I mean, sounds great, but you want to go out there with 25 to 35. That way you get all that bait in the water. The chum, I don't even really like to have the crew chumming while we're on the trip because, you know, if you start throwing that chum way off the bow, if the current's moving or anything at all, that chum may be 100 feet behind us, and, you know, it works a lot better when you have that number of people because then it's just pulling the fish to the boat, just bringing them right to the boat. Chumming is great, don't get me wrong, but, you know, with the amount of people we have, that's chum enough right there. It just draws them in.
And we talk about that on the nights or on the live show a lot on Sunday nights, how we don't do a lot of chumming on the party boats when we're fishing 100, 120 foot of water because the chum you drop on the surface doesn't hit the bottom until you're hundreds of yards
and
from the boat.
Even if you throw some chum out and then you let that chum drift off and then you throw a little bit more, basically where it looks like, you know, stairs going down to the bottom, you got those fish walking up, but a majority of those fish that are walking up that chum line, you know, you'll get them on jigs and stuff, and unless you're fishing the back of the boat, you're gonna have a tough time trying to get them. So you're better off just letting all that bait hit the bottom. You're chumming them right underneath the boat, and whenever you get them going good, I mean, you can hit the bottom, and it's like that. I mean, it's just great fishing, fun fishing.
So it's about a 2.5 hour ride or so, between 2 and 3 hours, about 7 to 8 hours of fishing time. You're fishing about 25 to 35 miles. You're fishing generally about 100, maybe 110, 120 foot.
We're typically, fishing about 95 to, I would say, about 110. Say during the summertime, it was pretty cool. Plus, too, you know, if you can't make some of the night snapper or some of the snapper trips, red snapper, you know, we pick some during the summer. It's nothing crazy. We pick a couple, but it's still something cool to see. You know, if you just don't have the opportunity to get out on one of the other trips, we're still doing that. And, you know, 2.5 hours, it sounds like a crazy long run time, but it goes by pretty quick. By the time myself, the crew, you know, we come around, we check everybody's tackle, make sure that you're rigged right, because we want to see you come out and have the best time possible, catch the most fish.
The ride out goes pretty quick.
It does.
The fishing time goes pretty quick. The ride back on a 12-hour night trip can be a little tedious.
Yeah.
Because it is an all-night trip. So a lot of people have been up all day Friday working, then they go out there all night. So that ride home can be a little grueling. But the ride out is nice and fast, and the fishing is fun, and it's a great way to kickstart your weekend. Like Captain James gave some tips and tricks on the tackle, the hook size, the leader size. The biggest thing I can recommend is watch some of our other videos on our fishing tips and tricks page. We've got lots of videos there on how to tie that double snell rig, how to cut those thread fins, how to hook those thread fins on a double snell rig. So check out hubbardsmarina.com, hit the fishing trips, and then hit fishing video links. You'll find our fishing tips and tricks page. Also, don't forget to look up Hubbard's Marina on YouTube. Don't forget to subscribe on YouTube and like the video for us. Anything else you want to add, Captain James?
Too busy to go fishing. Just too busy.